What if I told you that numbers are not a tool you use to count the world, but the very source code of the world, and of you? A hidden equation that governs not just the orbits of the stars, but the rhythm of your own heart. A forgotten frequency that shapes your every thought, your deepest feelings. We remember the name Pythagoras for a simple triangle theorem taught in schools, but this was a deliberate veil, a shadow thrown over a much more profound and far more transformative truth. What we are about to explore is not just a forgotten philosophy, it is an operating system for reality itself, a key to perceiving the universe not as dead matter, but as a living, thinking symphony, and you are one of its most important notes. Our journey begins by questioning the very ground beneath our feet. We trust our senses to report the truth, but they are profoundly limited instruments. They perceive a world of solid objects, separate from one another, governed by apparent chance. But what if this solidity is an illusion, a convincing story told by our biology? Imagine reality not as a collection of things, but as an infinite broadcast of frequencies, all playing at once. Your senses are like a radio receiver, calibrated from birth to tune into a single specific station, the physical world. But this doesn't mean the other stations, the other layers of reality, cease to exist. They are right here, right now, vibrating on a different band of existence, unseen, unheard, but absolutely present. In this model, what we call matter is not the cause of reality, but a consequence of it. It is a lower, denser frequency, a vibration slowed down so much that it becomes perceptible. Think of it as crystallized music, a standing wave in the cosmic ocean. The universe isn't a machine made of inert parts. It's a song being sung into existence, and every star, every stone, and every living cell is a note in that grand composition. This changes everything. Because if the universe is a symphony of frequencies, then your consciousness is not a passive listener. It is an instrument. Your thoughts, your emotions, your intentions, they are not just happening inside your head. They are vibrations you are constantly broadcasting, interacting with the larger orchestra, tuning your own reality, for better or worse. This isn't just a metaphor, it's a mechanism. What if the great mystery isn't what the universe is made of, but what song it is singing? And what if the ancient sages weren't just guessing but were listening to that music all along? Modern science itself confirms this limitation. The vast electromagnetic spectrum, from radio waves to gamma rays, passes through you at every moment, a universe of information your eyes were never built to see. You are swimming in an ocean of reality, while only perceiving a single drop. The ancient mystery schools didn't need quantum physics to know this. They taught that the physical world is merely the densest, most obvious layer of a multi-layered existence, and this cosmic song is not random noise. It is an intelligent composition, a logos. It has structure, rhythm, and recurring motifs. We see these echoes in the spiral of a galaxy and the spiral of a seashell, in the branching of a lightning bolt and the branching of the veins in your hand. These are not coincidences. They are the laws of harmony made visible, the signature of a single unifying intelligence weaving itself into form. Within this symphony, you possess a unique frequency signature. Your baseline emotional state, the quality of your habitual thoughts. This is the fundamental note your being constantly plays. The question is not if you are participating in the music. The only question is whether you are playing in tune. Are you adding to the harmony, or are you a source of dissonance, a broken string screaming against the orchestra? This ancient view presents us with a staggering paradox. If all that exists is vibration, then what is the silence between the notes? Is it nothingness, an empty void? Or is it the infinite potential from which every note, every star, and every soul is born? This vision of a vibrational universe wasn't born in a modern laboratory. It is a whisper passed down through millennia. The master listener, the one who first transcribed this cosmic score, was Pythagoras. Born on the Greek island of Samos, he embarked on a lifelong hunt for the source code of reality, traveling for decades through Egypt and Babylon. In the temples of the Nile, he learned of a universe governed by Ma'at, a principle of divine order, harmony, and balance. From the Babylonian Magi, he inherited a celestial mathematics, a science that tracked the movements of the stars not just as physical bodies, but as markers in a grand cosmic ritual. Pythagoras was a synthesizer. He gathered these threads of ancient wisdom and wove them into a unified system so powerful, so profound, that he deemed it too dangerous for the unprepared mind. Upon his return, he founded a secret brotherhood, a mystery school, where initiates endured years of silence and purification to earn the right to learn. What did they learn? That numbers were not human inventions, but divine principles. 1 was the source, the singularity. 2 was duality, the tension that creates. 3 was harmony, the resolution. The universe, he taught, was a living entity that thought, felt, and expressed itself through the sacred language of number. But this knowledge might have vanished into myth if not for its most brilliant student, Plato. It was Plato who took the vibrational, numerical soul of Pythagorean wisdom and gave it a philosophical body. In his work, the Timaeus, Plato describes a divine craftsman, a demiurge, who creates the universe not from matter, but from pre-existing mathematical forms and harmonic ratios. The world we see, Plato argued, is a shadow, a flickering projection of a higher, perfect geometric reality. This is the key. When Plato speaks of the world of ideal forms, he is describing the Pythagorean source code, the invisible, vibrational blueprint. The Hermetic texts would later echo this with the axiom, as above, so below. The Gnostics would speak of a fallen, illusory world and a higher, true reality of light. Different languages, same fundamental truth. The universe we perceive is a secondary effect, a reflection of a deeper, unseen harmonic order. And if this is true, then the ultimate quest is not to master the world of shadows, but to attune our consciousness to the source from which those shadows are cast. How? The danger of this knowledge was not merely political, it was metaphysical. To understand the source code of reality was to gain the potential to rewrite it. A mind not purified by virtue could, in theory, use these principles to create dissonance, to manipulate, to enslave not just others, but the very fabric of nature. The years of silence demanded of his students were not a test of patience, but a necessary recalibration of the soul, a process of erasing the noise of the profane world so that the inner ear could begin to perceive the subtle music of the real. This is why Pythagoras called the universe the cosmos. The word didn't just mean the universe, it meant a perfect, harmonious, and beautiful order. For him, the opposite of cosmos was chaos. The entire purpose of his philosophy, his science, his way of life, was to transform the chaos of human existence into a personal cosmos, a soul in perfect harmony with the greater whole. Plato's Timaeus is our most detailed blueprint of this vision. He describes the world's soul, the anima mundi, being woven by the Creator out of the fundamental musical intervals, the octave, the fifth, the fourth. Think about that. For Plato, the very soul of existence is not a vague spirit. It is a mathematical structure, a living, divine harmony. The soul of a human being was a microcosm of this world soul, a smaller chord resonating within the grand symphony. This single idea, that the soul is a harmony, was revolutionary. It implied that virtue was a form of inner tuning. Vice, anger, and ignorance were forms of dissonance, a sickness of the soul's music. Therefore, philosophy, mathematics, and music were not academic subjects. They were therapeutic arts, designed to retune the human instrument and restore it to its proper divine resonance. What, then, were the practical methods for this cosmic tuning? So, this vision of a living, vibrational cosmos is fascinating. But what do we do with it on a Monday morning? The Pythagorean school was not a forum for abstract debate. It was a laboratory for the soul. The knowledge was meant to be lived, to be embodied. We can distill their methods into 3 laws of perception, a practical map for navigating our own existence. The first is the law of vibration. This means recognizing that everything, without exception, is a frequency. Most importantly, your inner state is a frequency you are broadcasting into the world. Think about the last time you felt intense joy or deep despair. That feeling was not contained within your skin. It was a palpable energy that altered the very atmosphere of the room. People felt it. This isn't imagination, it's physics. The practical application is to become a conscious broadcaster. The practice here is not to fake positivity, but to ask, what frequency is my inner world generating right now? Is it chaotic, fearful, resentful? The first step is simply to observe this without judgment, to acknowledge that your internal state is an active force, not a passive experience. The second is the law of harmony. This states that well-being, in all its forms, is a state of resonance with the cosmic order, while suffering is a state of dissonance. When your life feels like a constant struggle, when you are beset by chaos, sickness, and conflict, it is a sign that your personal frequency is out of tune with the greater symphony. How do we see this in action? Think of a time you were in the zone, in a state of flow. In those moments, your actions feel effortless, intuitive, and perfectly timed. That is the feeling of harmony. It is your personal will resonating with the will of the cosmos. The practice then is to use this feeling as a compass. The path of harmony feels expansive and clear. The path of dissonance feels constricted and chaotic. The choice is to learn to navigate by this feeling, to consciously choose the thoughts, actions, and environments that bring you into that state of flow. If these ideas resonate with you, consider subscribing so we can continue this journey together. The third law is the law of form. This is the recognition that the invisible laws of harmony crystallize into visible patterns, which the ancients called sacred geometry. These are not just pretty shapes, they are the architectural blueprints of creation. From the hexagonal structure of a honeycomb to the perfect spiral of a nautilus shell, nature is speaking in a geometric language. The application here is to learn to see this language around you, but more importantly, to understand that your own soul has a geometric structure. Plato believed the soul was composed of triangles, representing the perfect balance of forces. The practice is to use these forms in contemplation. Visualize a perfect, stable square when you feel ungrounded. Meditate on the image of a circle when you wish to connect with a sense of wholeness and eternity. This is not worship. It is a form of cognitive tuning, using the universal patterns of order to bring order to your own mind. These three laws are not rules to follow. They are tools for perception. They shift us from being passive victims of a random universe to active participants in a cosmic symphony, with the power to tune the only instrument we truly control, ourselves. Let's dive deeper into the law of vibration. Consider the power of your words. A word is not just a label. It is a packet of compressed sound, a vibration you release into the world. The phrase, "I can't," creates a literal field of constriction. The phrase, "What if I could," generates a field of possibility. This is why the Pythagorean Brotherhood practiced periods of extended silence. It was to unlearn the habit of broadcasting chaotic, unconscious vibrations through speech, and to learn to speak with intention, to use the voice as a tool for creating harmony, not chaos. A practical step. For one day, try to notice the vibrational quality of your own words. Do they build or do they diminish? Do they clarify or do they confuse? This is the beginning of sonic responsibility. Now, let's expand the law of harmony. This principle of resonance explains the old wisdom: you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It's not just about shared habits, it's about vibrational entrainment. Your energy field is constantly interacting with the fields of others. When you are around people who are chronically angry or fearful, your own field can be pulled into their dissonant frequency. Conversely, being in the presence of someone who is genuinely peaceful can feel like a tuning fork for your own soul, gently inviting you back into a state of harmony. The practice here is a conscious audit of your energetic diet. What music do you listen to? What content do you consume? Who do you allow into your inner circle? Each of these is a frequency that is either nourishing or poisoning your harmony. Finally, let's explore the law of form with greater precision. The ancients believed that these geometric patterns were the bridge between the seen and the unseen. A perfect 6-pointed star, the Seal of Solomon, wasn't just 2 triangles. It was a visual mantra representing the union of spirit and matter, as above, so below. Contemplating it was a way to integrate these 2 realities within one's own consciousness. The application isn't just to look at these shapes, but to feel their inherent logic. Why does a spiral feel like growth and infinity? Because its form is a perfect expression of expansion from a single point. The practice is to find the dominant geometry of your current life situation. Is it a tangled knot of chaos, a rigid, unbending square, or a circle of endless repetition? By identifying the pattern, you can begin to consciously introduce the geometry of the solution, the spiral of growth, the triangle of balance, the point of new beginnings. We have learned to see the universe as a symphony and ourselves as instruments within it. The path to wisdom, it seems, is to tune ourselves to its divine pre-existing harmony. But what if this is only half the story? A beautiful but incomplete truth. What if the music of the spheres is not a finished recording, playing on a loop for eternity? What if it's a live performance, an unfinished symphony still being composed right now? And what if human consciousness is not just another instrument in the orchestra, but a composer with the terrifying freedom to write a new melody? This is the most forbidden of the Pythagorean secrets. that we are not just here to listen, we are here to create. Every soul's journey through a lifetime is a musical composition. A life of virtue, compassion, and wisdom adds a sublime, complex harmony to the song of existence. A life of ignorance, hatred, and fear introduces a jarring chord, a painful dissonance that echoes through the fabric of the cosmos. This isn't a metaphor for good and evil. It's a description of metaphysical reality. Your life isn't just your own. It is a note being offered to the whole, and the universe, in its drive toward perfect harmony, must respond to every note. Every act of love resolves a tension. Every act of cruelty creates one. Suddenly, the purpose of our existence is not to find our way back to a static, perfect source. It is to participate in the becoming of that source. To help compose the next, more beautiful, more complex octave of the universal song, this transforms the soul's journey from a quest for personal enlightenment into an act of cosmic creativity. So, the question is no longer just, am I in tune? The question becomes, what music is my soul composing? Consider the ancient Pythagorean doctrine of metempsychosis, the transmigration of the soul. It's often simplified as reincarnation. But what if its true meaning was musical? What if the soul is a melody, and each lifetime is a variation on its central theme? A soul that learns and resolves dissonance in one life carries that harmonic wisdom into the next, able to attempt a more complex and beautiful composition. A soul that repeats the same patterns of chaos is trapped in a dissonant loop, a broken record, until it finally learns to play a new chord. This puts the entire history of the cosmos in a new light. It is not a static stage on which souls perform, but a dynamic, evolving piece of music. The Big Bang was the first note. The formation of galaxies was the emergence of the baseline. The birth of life on Earth was a new instrumental section, and the arrival of self-aware consciousness, that was the moment the orchestra was given a soloist with the freedom to improvise. This idea is both terrifying and exhilarating. It means the universe is not indifferent to us. It hears us. It feels our every choice as a shift in its own harmony. Our collective consciousness is not just a passenger on planet Earth. It is a creative force that is actively composing the future emotional and spiritual tone of this world. We are, quite literally, co-creating the song of the human age. What if the great spiritual masters, the Buddhas, the Christs, the Krishnas, were not just teachers but cosmic musicians of the highest order, beings who incarnated to introduce a radically new and beautiful theme into the symphony of human consciousness, a master chord of love and liberation so powerful that it continues to resonate through history, offering a harmonic pattern for other souls to follow. They didn't just teach the music, they were the music. So what now? If we are not just listeners but composers, the weight of our existence changes. The pursuit of wisdom is no longer a passive, private affair. It becomes an act of immense, cosmic responsibility. This is the awakening Pythagoras intended for his most advanced students, the shift from a personal quest for salvation to a conscious participation in the creation of reality. This means every choice, no matter how small, becomes a creative act. The food you eat, the information you consume, the words you speak, they are no longer just personal habits. They are the notes you choose to play. Are they notes of mindfulness, clarity, and compassion? Or are they notes of chaos, distraction, and discord? There is no neutral act in a vibrational universe. Every thought either refines the harmony or pollutes it. The ethical implications are profound. An act of cruelty is not just an offense against another being. It is a deliberate introduction of dissonance into the universal field. It is like screaming a wrong note in the middle of a divine choir. An act of selfless love, on the other hand, is not just a personal virtue. It is a harmonic resolution, a beautiful chord that ripples outwards, subtly healing the dissonance around it. You are not just responsible for your own soul, you are responsible for the frequency you contribute to the collective. This completely reframes our purpose. We are not here to escape the world, but to help tune it. Our task is not to transcend the messy reality of human life, but to incarnate the principles of harmony within it, to build businesses that resonate with integrity, to create art that elevates the soul, to forge relationships that are, in themselves, a form of beautiful music. Every corner of human life becomes a potential temple, a space to practice the sacred art of harmonic creation. Funny how the oldest advice in the world is to know thyself. It seems that's still the hardest final boss to beat, Because knowing yourself, in the Pythagorean sense, means hearing your own song with absolute clarity. And once you hear it, you can no longer pretend you are not the one playing it. You are the composer, the instrument, and the music, all at once. What will you choose to play? This cosmic responsibility extends to our very thoughts. The Pythagoreans practiced a form of nightly review, not as a moral judgment, but as a harmonic analysis. They would replay the events of the day in their minds, asking, where did I act in harmony? Where did I create dissonance? The goal was not self-flagellation, but self-correction. To identify the sources of inner noise, the ego's demands, the reactive anger, the pull of fear, and to consciously resolve them, like a musician retuning their instrument after a chaotic performance. This is the real work of the mystery hunter. The hunt is not for external secrets, but for the sources of our own inner dissonance. Where does my fear originate? What is the root note of my anger? To hunt these down is to begin the process of profound self-healing, which is, in reality, the healing of your unique contribution to the world's song. This also means we must become guardians of our perception. In a world saturated with manufactured outrage, algorithmically driven fear, and constant noise, protecting our inner harmony is an act of rebellion. It requires curating our informational diet as carefully as our nutritional one. To consciously unplug from the frequencies of chaos is not an act of ignorance, but an act of sacred preservation. It is creating the inner silence necessary to hear the true music once again, so that what we broadcast back into the world is a signal of clarity, not just another echo of the noise. Therefore, the ultimate act of power is not to control the world, but to master the vibration of the self. From this state of inner harmony, right action flows effortlessly. You don't have to try to be good, you simply resonate with the good. You don't have to force positive outcomes. You become a vibrational match for them. This is the secret hidden in plain sight. Changing the world is an inside job, because the world we experience is a direct reflection of the music we are playing within. We began by questioning the nature of a number, and we arrive at the very purpose of a soul. The journey through the Pythagorean cosmos shows us that reality is not a fixed, silent stage. It is a living, responsive, and unfinished symphony, a song of unimaginable complexity, vibrating with the echoes of every choice ever made. You have never been separate from this music. Even in your darkest moments, when your life felt like a chaotic, broken noise, the deeper harmony of existence was still there, holding you, carrying you, patiently waiting for you to remember the song of your own soul. The work of awakening is not about becoming something new. It is about remembering the divine frequency that has been yours from the very beginning. The forbidden teachings of Pythagoras were never truly forbidden by others. They are protected by their own nature. They can only be understood by those who have cultivated the inner silence to hear them. They are not a set of beliefs to be memorized, but a state of resonance to be embodied. They are a call to transform your very being into an instrument of cosmic beauty. The final great mystery, then, is not what the universe is, but what it is becoming. And the most profound question is not who am I, but what harmony will my soul contribute to the eternal song? The choice is yours. The orchestra is listening. Like this journey? Hit subscribe for more mysteries. And that's our hunt for now. A wild mix of documented history and tantalizing what-ifs based on bibliographical sources. What do you think?